The next campaign in the engagement series is the Sweetening the Deal campaign. Now, the purpose of this campaign is to grab those prospects that still haven't converted into buyers and to appeal to a different side. We're going to move from talking about the benefits of the product to talking about the bonuses. So now we get into a value proposition. This appeals to our logic. It appeals to any like the coupon gene, so the deal gene. At the end of the day, the principles that sites like Groupon were built on. So we've gone through a campaign, and if you've stacked a campaign that had maybe a mini launch or a webinar, you've gone through some of the other types of follow-up, a gain, logic, fear, and now here we are. It's towards the end of the campaign. It's time to start winding things down. More than likely, in a campaign of that length, your sales have started to flatten out, so it's time to hit a button and start to hockey stick things again. And as we head towards the end of this particular campaign, now like I said, a really good way to do that is to switch the tone, right? To switch the messaging. Someone's already said no a couple of times to a specific thing or to an offer of the certain way. If you've gone through gain, logic, fear, and none of those have hit, we need to speak to something else. And bonuses, additional things that people have to see a definitive value to and say no to. Again, you're speaking to that couponer. You're speaking logically to someone. If they haven't completely said no and made that decision, if they are on the fence, this is your cleanup campaign. This is the campaign that's coming in, initially hitting them with that coupon mentality or that deal mentality. And if you really want to up the ante and you really want to get maximum benefit out of this campaign, that's when you make a hybrid and combine the sweetening the deal with the going, gone. So the sweetening the deal is basically taking 4 to 5 days of adding an additional bonus to incentivize the prospect to make the purchase each and every day. Also in that mail, again, if we're going to really swing for the fences here, we're going to combine that and make it a hybrid with the going, gone. That is almost a 2-part mail. The first section speaking to the value of the bonus and why it was added, and the second half speaking to the scarcity and the closing. And there's a way to do it with a closing, and there's a way to do it with a price increase. So we're going to dive into all that and talk about when you should use which one. So before we dive into the first message, it's important that I get this out of the way. If you deploy the Sweetening the Deal campaign, you need to make sure that you're not rewarding the people who took the longest to make the decision. Okay, think about that for a second. You don't want to only reward people that waited until the very last minute. You want to make sure that you're rewarding the people who knew immediately, your hyper responders, your people that on the first email, the second email, the third email, went ahead and bought because they value you, your brand, or you hit that nerve. Maybe it was their first purchase. Either way, you don't want to not provide them with the bonus for taking early action. If anything, you want to make sure that you reward them, and that's where fast action bonuses come into play. But another topic for another time. Point of this particular soapbox rant is that you need to make sure, if you're going to deploy the Sweetening the Deal campaign, that you deploy it across you honor the bonuses that you're giving to the late responders, to everyone who purchased during this particular promotion. This is also a great way to go back out to buyers and say unadvertised bonus, and you can hit them with a similar deal. If they're done and they're out of the value loop or they're not in an ascension, it's a great way to add stick and reciprocity, right? They already said yes before they knew, and if you go in and add hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of products for free, then they could only be happier Okay, so make sure that's a big thing. If you don't roll that back, you'll get people who contact support and say, "Well, I want a refund so that I can rebuy and get this." And there's absolutely no point in that. Even if you make them jump through those hoops, you've lost some credibility, and you've taught them to. And this is maybe the worst. Is way worse than that. You've taught them to wait as long as humanly possible to see if you are going to sweeten the deal. So make sure that you're rewarding your hyper responders as well. Digging into the first message here. So you would say machine update or email update, good news and bad news. Hey Richard, I've got some good news and some bad news. Let's go with the good news first. When you join me in my new machine coaching program, I've also decided to include access to, and we actually did bonus some things in here. We added, I believe, 4 additional bonuses into the machine. We added the email copywriting bonus. We added the social list building bonus. We added the analytics and tracking bonus, and we added the sneaky email tricks bonus. So we added 4 bonuses in here. Now, we didn't deploy this because literally we decided that we wanted to keep the class small because this is a coaching program. We are getting on and speaking to you guys, and we're in the group. So we did not deploy this particular campaign, but it would have been very easy to do so with the bonuses we already had. In a lot of cases, you'll be able to repurpose some bonuses that maybe already exist. Even if you're in the physical products business, this works. Okay, you can do it with sales ending, and a lot of the times you can get add-ons from the manufacturer. You can go in and bundle things. You can get freebies to put and incentivize people. So don't think that this only works for information marketing or for coaching or for real estate investing. This works no matter what you're doing. If it works in commercial water filter manufacturing and distribution, you cannot tell me that it will not work in your business. I'm sorry, you will not be able to convince me of it. So eliminate that barrier and start thinking about what you can add on here. But these bullet points are very formulaic. Here's the name. It has a real value of this. Here's a description and why it's important. Not necessarily why it's important, just the reason for its existence philosophically, but why is it important, and important's probably the wrong word. Why is it relevant to the other offer you're making? Why is this service or this product relevant to the original service you're asking me to buy? Because you're not asking them to buy these, you're giving them. But if they're totally irrelevant to the process, then it's not helping you or them. You're asking them to do something completely different, or you're now doing yourself and them a disservice, and you're making them think about something else. You may accidentally make them worry about something else that your core offer doesn't really solve, and now they're on to something else. Their mental bandwidth is now being consumed with something else. So as beneficial as this can be, and it can also go bad quickly, and the easiest way to make sure that doesn't happen is to make sure they are relevant. Thinking back to the example of the bonuses that were added to the machine, there was list building, totally relevant to email marketing. There was email copywriting. Even though we're giving these bonuses, or even though we're giving all these templates and we're doing these deep dive videos on the psychological elements and how to tweak these videos, you still need to know how to write email copy. So we're going to do that. On top of being relevant, it also overcomes objections, right? I don't have a list. Here's a list building. I don't know how to write emails at all. Here's a list building course on top of the templates. Then we're going in and adding things that are going to accentuate the training, the sneaky email tricks, so the little conversions and little conversion hacks that are going to make these emails and any email you have perform better. All of these are relevant bonuses to the core offer. We haven't asked the prospect to think about anything that's not email marketing related. Okay, and that's your job in creating these bonuses. So then it transitions. Now again, this is the optional kind of going gone meets sweetening the deal. So this is your hybrid. This is your adding bonuses, and now you're going in with a little bit of a takeaway or a closing. So now for the bad news. I've decided to keep the class small, or the sale's almost over, or we're almost out of room in the event if you're doing live events. I mean, again, this can be applied anywhere. I'm almost out of inventory. There's an unlimited number of possibilities. You have to kind of think a little bit and make this relevant. But in this case, this was an example from an online training class. So I've decided to keep the class small, and it's filling up quickly. Once this class is full, I'll close the doors, and you'll have to wait at least, in this case for the machine, you'll have to wait at least 4 months. That's assuming I decide to offer it again for your chance to register. See, this email marketing coaching program is powerful. It literally changed my business, and it's the secret weapon I use on any business I own to generate revenue from their subscriber base whenever I choose. I don't want too many of my competitors or yours getting their hands on it. Do you? Bad news part 2. This is completely optional. Now, this is a way to just kind of hit the trifecta. So you can go in and say, I'm adding a bonus, I'm closing the class soon, and on top of, or I'm not closing, instead of closing the class, your 2 options for bad news are you can close it, or you can increase the price, which is almost as effective as a close. So if you're going into scarcity, the first thing is, as far as the how potent the scarcity is, closing is the biggest bang for your buck you're going to get. But if you're doing a lot of evergreen promotions, and now you're dealing with closing pages and opening pages and closing pages and opening pages, that can be difficult. Number 2 would be I'm increasing the price, so the sale is ending. And number 3 is I'm not going to talk to you about this anymore. So that's the most effective to the least effective out of the 3 options of scarcity that you're getting. All will increase versus none. And at the end of the day, you just need to decide what's right for you, what's right for your positioning in the marketplace and each particular product. So back to the email. In this particular example, it's a price increase. So bad news part 2, because of this, I've set a deadline for the discount. The price goes up by the dollar amount here, and that's if you pay in full. Again, here we had payment plan options versus a full pay option, very much like you saw in the machine. If you choose the pay plan, price goes up by this, and then enter your date and time. So it's time to make a choice. Go here now before time runs out. All right. A lot of information there, but again, I wouldn't trigger this in a short campaign. If this were for a smaller price or core offer, mid-range price product, I would not go into triggering this elaborate of a campaign for one of those offers. If you're talking a higher dollar that you've gone in and you've stacked a couple of campaigns behind it, definitely. If you want to use this on a lower price, take off some of the scarcity. There's no need to kill a housefly with a bazooka. You can still add the bonuses, and you can still close it, and you can still raise the price if you want to. But if we're talking a mid-range product, I would not do them all. It's going to lose its effectiveness, and it's almost going to be expected on your bigger products. So save the trifecta for your bigger products. Now, second message, send 1 day later. Bonus, my best something. Templates are great here. My best funnel template. My best email template, right? So we wouldn't do that because the training is about that, and it includes the email templates. But we may do my best list building strategy. So again, name your bonus, but not the actual name of the product. So hey, first name, I'm going to sweeten the deal a bit for those of you who are still on the fence. Here's the scoop. So again, we're going to come back around and explain why this bonus is not only important, needed, valuable, but is relevant to this. I want to make it easier on you. Share what you're going to give them. That's going to fulfill the above promise. So again, now we're releasing that additional bonus. Here are a few of the bonuses I'm giving you. Now you're going to go back and hit the bonuses that you already talked about yesterday. Then we're going to get into explaining why. So why would I do this? In the email class, you're going to learn how to deploy 26 of my best campaigns and templated and proven campaigns in your business. And with the bonuses, you'll be able to build a list if you don't have one, improve the emails that you have now, or write new ones from scratch, and track the effectiveness of these emails and know whether or not they're working. But there are two big problems, right? So now we need to come back in and basically say, if you have nothing, there are these problems. So we may come in and hit some additional bonuses here. Problem number one, if you can't get your emails delivered, then it doesn't matter how great they are. Email deliverability is constantly changing, and if you don't know email deliverability, then your emails aren't going to make it to the inbox, and there's no way that the template's going to matter. Problem number two, and I'm kind of out of bonuses in this particular example, but it could be problem number two. Design. Email design is a big issue. So I want to take that off the table, and I'm going to give you 10 newsletter templates, and you won't have to worry about design anymore. That's a way to overcome an obstacle, overcome an objection. Design is not an issue, by the way. There's the debate of pretty versus ugly. We'll get into that in the training. And most email service providers have so many out-of-the-box templates that are easy to customize and are responsive and built for mobile that if you're going to use a design, you're almost best to tweak one of theirs. So don't worry about that right now. That was just an example. So both of these problems are solved once you use my new bonuses above and more. So by giving them to you, we're both winning. I win because it helps you, my client, even more, and then you're more likely to tell your friends about me and continue to do business with me. This is straight Frank Kern at his best. All right, Frank Kern is kind of the originator of this particular series and really perfected it. We've gone in and added our own twist to it, used it, and tweaked it, and found that this iteration works best for us. But this is just classic Frank Kern. So you win because you're getting my new bonuses above. So again, we're going to hit those again to use so you can cut down on your learning curve and start building your email list faster as a free gift, right? So we're speaking to speed and automation here. If they're not relevant, you're not going to be able to fill this out. Now there's a catch, right? Keep in mind that we talked about this in a couple of the other videos. When there is slang or terminology like pretty sweet, if that doesn't fit with your positioning in your marketplace, don't use it. You need to use your best judgment when tweaking these templates. Okay, so pretty sweet, but there's a catch. The catch is this class is going up in price on date and time. In fact, it's going up by a lot, and just enter the price here. And that's if it hasn't sold out yet, which is looking likely. So if you'd like to enter your bonuses here as my free gift and save this much money, enroll here. Link over to your sales page. P.S. Don't forget about the additional bonuses I added yesterday. So these don't have to be 3 bonuses today and 3 bonuses yesterday. You can add a total of 4 bonuses. You can add a total of 3. Start with 1 and add the additional ones after that. So again, adjust accordingly. Don't think that because it has 2 problems here that it has to say, but there are 2 problems. It could just as easily say, but there's 1 big problem, and then you need 1 more. So these are templates, but you have to apply your situation to the template, right? Your market, your product lines, your positioning in the market, acceptable vernacular and slang in your marketplace. So we're restating the initial bonuses here, another call to action, and we're done. Now, we get into message 3. Richard, you need to read this. Hey, Richard, quick heads up on some stuff. When you take my training course, I've also decided to include boom, 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 boom. So those would be the initial bonuses. You're also going to get boom, 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 boom. These are day 2 bonuses. Now for the bad news. And this should all look familiar. We're restating this part from mail 1. Okay? So it's likely now or never if you want to do this and get additional this and bonuses. So that price is going up. I'm sorry, that the value of the bonuses are going up with each email. Now, you could drag this out for 3 emails and just have 3 bonuses, or 2 emails and 1 bonus apiece. Again, it depends on what you have that's relevant. Link to the sales page, close the message, and go into the price increase. Now, remember there were 3 options. You can do, you can remove the scarcity. So remove the scarcity, or actually there's multiple options. You can remove the scarcity and only go with the bonuses added. Only do a traditional sweetening the deal. You can then go in and do a sweetening the deal with a price increase. So almost like the sale is ending. You can go in and do a sweetening the deal with a traditional close. So it is closing. The doors are shut. Class is over. Enrollment is over. I'm no longer offering this service. This software is going from a one-time fee to a software as a service model, and you'll have to pay monthly fees. Again, you can apply this to any market, anything, selling physical, tangible things or information, books, CDs, it does not matter. Okay, so we're going back into reserve your spot, call to action. Now, if you choose to go with the deadline, the price increase, you have an optional deadline series. So if you chose deadline, you can go with the deadline series here, making sure you're relevant. We're done talking about bonuses. Now we're talking about the price increase. This would also work for a closing, right? So you could just put this in here, and instead of doing the deadline, you go with a going, gone. That is the traditional closing. Deadline, the price, or deadline, this closes in 48 hours. Just like deadline, price increases in 48 hours. We're just restating that the price is increasing. Okay, going in, and we're going to recap the bonuses here, which is great, but they're not the focus. So if you've noticed in the emails, the first 3 emails, it was bonus first, scarcity second. If you're choosing this path, you're fundamentally flipping the order. You're coming in and leading with scarcity, and oh, by the way, don't forget about all these bonuses I'm giving you and the value that they have, right? The real world value. Now, make sure that if you're doing this, okay, you're giving the real world value. Give what they're worth. That's the easiest way to make this go bad. If you say that something that's worth $10 is worth $100, you've instantly lost all credibility. So be realistic. Don't think that you have to get to a $10,000 bonus value. If you can't, you can't. Or come up with some things that don't have that don't have definitive value established. A CD is between $9.99 and $14.99, and really no one buys CDs anymore. The iTunes download of the new CD release is $9.99. A DVD is $20, but again, no one buys those anymore. A book has some value unless we're getting into specialty books, right? You can get a book for $19.95, $24.95, depending. Those things have established values. Things like strategy sessions with you, if you are taking the expert or guru, I hate to use that, but if you're the quote unquote guru, specialist, expert in this particular offer, then you can do strategy sessions, things that you can't put a definitive value on. If you say this strategy session is worth $1,000, then the strategy session is worth $1,000. Don't get carried away, and make sure that when someone gets on that strategy session, they don't leave going, oh my goodness, there's no way that was worth $1,000. Again, going back to losing credibility, easy way to do that. So, soapbox take 3, I believe. Now, back to this email. All of this is swinging back into scarcity in the PS. Again, if you want to save this now and get an additional this in bonuses, enroll now. Here's a link over to your sales page. You're closing it, and you're reminding them of the deadline. In the next email, price hike, only hours left. So kind of beating a dead horse here in my going through each and every one of these emails, because there's not a lot that changes, right? We're really only changing the subject line, kind of the intro, and that's it, right? Subject line, intro. So this is the end of a very long series on sweetening the deal. Now, we handled sweetening the deal and the hybrid of sweetening the deal with going, gone, and sweetening the deal with the price increase. A lot of options here. Don't get overwhelmed. You can cut this down. That's the one thing I want to close on with this video, and I want you to remember. You can cut these down. You don't need 6 bonuses. You could have 2. You don't have to do the closing or the price increase. It can stay the same. You can hit a sweetening the deal, and then after a three email series on sweetening the deal with no scarcity, come back and stack a takeaway, which is a 1 email. I'm not going to email you about this anymore. So it's user or it's dealer choice here, whatever you'd like, but don't get overwhelmed. I really hope that you got nuances behind this and saw how incredibly profitable this particular campaign can be. But that's it. That's all there is to this Sweetening the Deal campaign. Thank you for bearing with me. I know this was a longer video. I hope I did a really good job explaining it. If you have any questions, please let me know. And for now, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you again in the next video.